What would it be like if the road surface was no longer a path, but became a fragile thread, hanging precariously over an abyss? And these are the world's most dangerous supply routes, the ultimate test of your driving skills. Just look at this curve. When your wheels roll over it, it's a breathless battle of wits against brutal terrain. One tiny mistake is all it takes to turn drivers into a tragedy at the bottom of a deep chasm. Your vehicle demands precision down to the centimeter in these impossible places. Join Haida Planet as we explore the extreme limits of human journeys, right up against nature's final barrier. Limi Valley, Nepal. This is the only way for the people of the three ancient villages, Halji, Jang, and Til, to receive supplies. You will have to cross the Nyalula Pass at an altitude of approximately 4,990 meters. The higher you go, the thinner the air becomes. The car engine roars as if it's about to break down, and your head spins from lack of oxygen. Seeing those beat-up old trucks and the struggles of the drivers, you'll really get what hauling freight at the risk of your life means. And if your vehicle breaks down, you'll have to wait several days or repair it yourself in the biting cold of the Himalayas. In Limi, each sack of rice brought back to the village is not just food. It represents the sweat and courage of the local drivers. Blackwater Trail, which is Guyana. This stretch of road is a combination of red soil, black mud, and standing water. There are sections where the potholes are so deep that if you don't have enough momentum or pick the wrong line, your 10-plus-ton truck will get swallowed instantly. The wheels shaking like crazy, steering's heavy as hell. One small mistake, and the truckload are straight in the ditch. The Blackwater Trail is not for the faint of heart. It's a vital lifeline connecting the mines to the outside world, but the price to maintain it is sweat and tears. What about you? If you were equipped with the world's best off-road vehicle, would you dare to test your skills on this road even once? Salang Pass, Afghanistan, located at an altitude of nearly 3,400 meters, in cutting across the majestic Hindu Kush mountain range. This is more than just a road. It's a lifeline connecting northern and southern Afghanistan. As you begin your journey, you'll find yourself surrounded by towering, grey and menacing cliffs in impossible places. Avalanches are commonplace here. A small tremor can send thousands of tons of snow, sweeping everything down into the abyss. Heavily loaded, brightly decorated trucks inch along the narrow roads, beside the unguarded chasm. Despite the danger, seeing those convoys tailing each other really shows the resilience of people here. Without Salang, goods and food simply couldn't move. South Sudan roads. During the rainy season, the road turns into a river of thick, sticky mud. You'll see UN relief trucks or heavy container trucks stuck in the mud for weeks, even months. The wheels are spinning like crazy, but the car just keeps sinking deeper. No one around, just the engine roaring in desperation. It's not just a battle against mud. Drivers also have to outwit security. Impromptu checkpoints spring up everywhere. The danger comes not only from the terrain, but also from the muzzles of guns lurking behind the bushes. Halapo Tocantins. This is a supply route for food and necessities to remote villages. But imagine, the sand in Halapo is unlike beach sand. It's fine and deep, like a black hole. Just a moment of carelessness while driving or slowing down at the wrong time, and your 4x4 will retire instantly in the 40 degrees Celsius heat. The feeling of the wheels losing traction and the engine roaring hopelessly is truly an extreme psychological test. Furthermore, but when a truck comes from the opposite direction, the dust rises up like a thick brick wall. You are forced to stop the car completely, hold your breath, and wait 2 to 3 minutes for the dust to settle before you can see the road again. Would you dare to risk your safety for a once-in-a-lifetime adventure like this? Lebong Tandai, Sumatra. If you're expecting a rugged jeep or a high-speed train, you'll be disappointed immediately. The only way to reach this village is via molec, a homemade mini-train running on tracks from the Dutch colonial era. Imagine sitting on a narrow wooden plank, with a low-powered engine under your feet, hurtling along rusty tracks only about 60 centimeters wide. Sandwiched between a vertical rock face and a deep ravine, the molec is one stray stone away from a total derailment. Sometimes, you have to hop off and help the driver lug the molec over the debris just to keep moving through these impossible places. Amazon, Bolivia. Buckle up, because we're about to plunge straight from the cloud-shrouded peaks of the Andes to the bottom of the Amazon rainforest. This experience begins at an altitude of 4,700 meters at the La Cumbre Pass. The air is so thin, your lungs protest, and the cold of the Bolivian highlands penetrates through your jacket. There are stretches of road barely 3 meters wide, just enough for a truck, and one of its wheels might be teetering on the edge of a cliff. Right at the edge of the road is a sheer cliff 600 to 1,000 meters deep. No barriers, no guardrails, just you and gravity. La Mosquitia, Honduras. It is one of the most remote and wild regions in Central America. There are stretches of mud up to knee-deep, ready to trap any 4x4 vehicle if the driver is inexperienced. Along with the intricate network of rivers and canals, sometimes the road is the riverbed itself in impossible places. Transportation depends entirely on rudimentary motorboats. One small mistake, and all your goods will be food for the fish. What if your car breaks down in the middle of the jungle? Good luck, because the nearest rescue station could be a 3-day walk away. Bhutan roads. Stepping into the cabin of a truck or passenger vehicle in Bhutan, you'll see a familiar sight. There are no straight lines here. Roads in Bhutan are mostly narrow, winding ribbons clinging to the sheer cliffs of the Himalayas. On one side is a towering cliff, or on the other, a bottomless abyss. Each hairpin bend is so close to the edge of the precipice that you can hear the rocks falling below. Interestingly, Bhutan is one of the rare countries without traffic lights. When two cars traveling in opposite directions meet on a road only 1.5 lanes wide, it's a real dance. Guinea Conakry roads. These aren't just roads, they're a test of character for both drivers and vehicles. With its destructive terrain and surface, don't let the map fool you. In Guinea, the line between highways and terraces is sometimes very thin. They're like meteorite craters ready to swallow up the suspension of any 4-axle truck. Guinea is the world's bauxite capital, with heavy mineral trucks constantly churning up the roads, creating deep ruts. Here, brakes are less important than composure and a set of top-notch off-road tires. Sierra de Perijá, Venezuela. What do you think of a labyrinth of red dirt trails, so narrow that a 10-centimeter turn of the steering wheel is all it takes? And the continuous hairpin turns made the engine roar to the point where it felt like it was about to explode. Along with thick fog that obscured visibility to less than 2 meters, even a light rain turned the road into a muddy puddle. The danger here also lies in the area's sensitive nature, with the presence of armed groups and cross-border smuggling activities. Every time you pass by makeshift guard posts or watchful eyes in the bushes, your heart will race faster than your engine revs. Bruce, Senegal. Known for its extremely dangerous quicksand, as it can swallow the wheels of a 10-ton truck in an instant. Temperatures can reach up to 45 degrees Celsius, causing engine overheating and frequent tire blowouts. During the rainy season, it turns into a giant sea of mud, and the dried-up streams can rise, completely isolating supply convoys for days. To conquer this route, the trucks are usually old but incredibly durable, 4x4 or 3x4 beasts. Driving here isn't just about mastering the steering wheel. It's about the ability to read the terrain in impossible places. Just one wrong turn of the wheel tracks of the vehicle ahead, and you could be stranded in the middle of the savannah for a week. Route Nationale 5 roads. Located along the eastern coast of Madagascar, the stretch of road connecting Maroancetra and Suanyarana Ivongo. It's not just a dilapidated road, it's a test of character for both drivers and vehicles on impossible places. Unlike the steep mountain passes in Bolivia or India, the RN5 challenges you with a terrifying combination of conditions. Sections close to the sea cause the wheels to get buried instantly if you don't have the skill to deflate the tires. Along with slippery rocks popping up in the middle of the road, seemingly ready to visit the underside of your vehicle at any moment. BR 319, Highway, Brazil. With a length of approximately 800 kilometers, don't let that number fool you. There are sections where you might spend an entire day just to inch forward a few dozen kilometers. As you reach the middle section, you'll encounter BR 319's signature feature, a 400-kilometer stretch that's completely unpaved. It's a mix of mud, potholes, and dilapidated wooden bridges, and every time your wheels roll over them, all you can do is pray. And in the makeshift wooden bridges are the most terrifying, watching the wooden planks creak under the weight of the vehicles. Just a slight misstep, and both you and your vehicle will be prey for the piranhas below. Maniwa, Myanmar. Strategically located on the banks of the Chindwin River, it serves as a gateway connecting central Mandalay with the Indian border region. The roads around this area frequently traverse rugged mountainous terrain with severely degraded infrastructure. Unlike the treacherous routes due to natural disasters, Moniwa is infinitely more dangerous due to political instability. Having to pass through dozens of checkpoints manned by different factions means that transport times are never predictable. This is the epicenter of internal conflicts, where shipments can be trapped in the crossfire at any moment. Unforgettable Bhutan. Immediately after leaving the Unforgettable border crossing, you'll be thrown straight into a steep climb to an altitude of over 2,000 meters. Along with that, there are hairpin bends so sharp that you feel like the back of the bus is hanging precariously over the edge of an abyss. And you are expecting a romantic, distant view here. Here, the fog is so thick that drivers sometimes only see less than 2 meters in front of their car. There are stretches of road where one side is a sheer cliff, the other a bottomless abyss. Madagascar roads. Here, asphalt is a luxury. Most of the supply routes are made of red basalt soil and fine sand. Dusty roads and potholes so deep they could swallow a sedan are a major problem. When the rain comes, turning everything into a giant mud puddle, 4x4 trucks are essential, but sometimes even they fail. You won't find sturdy, reinforced concrete bridges. Instead, you'll find rotten wooden planks haphazardly stacked. The driver has to get out, check each wooden plank carefully before risking the drive across. One small mistake, the whole truck and cargo end up at the bottom of the ravine or river. San Antonio de los Cobres, Andes. The most distinctive feature here is the harshness. The air is so thin that your lungs have to work at full capacity, and the car engine is constantly straining. Along with scorching hot days, temperatures can plummet to below freezing at night in just a few hours. If your car breaks down here, you might not see a soul pass by for hours. Altitude sickness can impair driving concentration, making it extremely dangerous on roads without guardrails. This isn't just a trade route, it's a test of endurance for both humans and machines. Wakhan Corridor, Afghanistan. With its topography being a long, narrow strip of land sandwiched between Tajikistan, Pakistan, and China. The route is essentially a series of gravel trails running along the turbulent Panj River. Why is it called the dangerous supply route? Because everything here is designed to challenge the limits of vehicles and people. You'll frequently be traveling at altitudes above 4,000 meters. The air is so thin that every breath is heavy, and the car engine will roar from lack of oxygen. This is a route where even the most thorough preparation can be rendered useless in the face of a sudden rockslide. Ladakh, India. The reason Ladakh is a nightmare for drivers is the combination of three factors: altitude, terrain, and climate. At altitudes above 5,300 meters, the oxygen is so thin that stepping out of the car too quickly will make you dizzy. Transporting heavy goods here requires extremely powerful engines and drivers with incredibly strong lungs. During the winter, heavy snowfall can block access routes for up to 6 months. Right now, all resupply depends completely on military cargo flights or daring truck convoys seizing every minute when the weather finally lifts at first light. If you could only bring 3 things to survive on this Ladakh trail, what would you choose? Montwright, Quebec. In northern Quebec, winter isn't a season, it's an entity. Blizzards can strike in an instant, turning your windshield into a white wall. What's even more remarkable is that the road surface, while appearing only slightly wet, is actually as slippery as an ice rink. And a slight turn of the steering wheel is enough to send both the vehicle and its occupants plunging into the deep ravine of the taiga forest. What if your car breaks down? You're all alone, with just your radio and temperatures that could drop below -40 degrees Celsius. This isolation creates immense psychological pressure, forcing you to maintain 200% alertness at all times. Dogon villages, Mali. Instead of flat land, the Dogon people chose the towering Bandiagara cliffs for their backed-by mountains location. This was a perfect defensive tactic in the past, allowing them to observe any enemies from afar. The houses and granaries here are all made from local materials, making the entire village blend perfectly into the colors of the cliffs. Sometimes you'll wonder, where is the natural stone, and where is the handiwork of man? Living here is a daily test of physical endurance. There are no elevators, no paved roads. It is a testament to humanity's will to survive and its ingenuity in the face of adversity. Migingo Island, Uganda. If you think a dangerous house has to be perched precariously on a cliff or right next to a volcano, then Migingo redefines that concept. This isn't just a house, but a micro-city spanning only about 2,000 square meters, yet housing hundreds of people. Located in the middle of Lake Victoria, Africa's largest freshwater lake. When hurricane season arrives, the fierce waves can swallow up anything left exposed. In 2010, this tiny rock sparked a territorial dispute between Kenya and Uganda because it generates thousands of dollars each year in fishing taxes. People stick around here because the Nile perch is a massive source of income, but it's also exactly why this island is constantly targeted by armed groups. Makoko, Nigeria. is a floating settlement balanced on water at the edge of Africa's largest mega-city. An estimated 100,000 to 250,000 people live here, with over 90% of the homes situated on the polluted lagoon. The floor is only 90 to 1.8 meters above the water's surface. However, there are no roads and no cars. All transportation takes place by boat 24 hours a day within impossible places. This community operates without a formal wastewater treatment system, and over 50% of its residents rely on fishing for their livelihood. For decades, this water city's residents have thrived without any urban planning, proving human life can adapt to places that seem utterly uninhabitable. Santa Cruz del Islote, Colombia. Imagine an island only the size of 2 football fields, yet home to over 1,200 people. Here the concepts of garden or sidewalk are a luxury. Houses are built close together, extending right to the water's edge. Just one major storm or rising sea level, and the entire island is like a fragile life raft in the middle of the ocean. Without sturdy breakwaters or high ground to escape to, its existence is a proud challenge to the open sea. Free house on a crowded, peaceful island. Take it for sea view doorstep, or skip for lack of privacy. You in? Kawah Ijen Villages, Indonesia. Living in the villages around Kawah Ijen is not simply about settling down. It's a daily gamble with nature. The houses here are located right in the path of one of the world's largest acid lakes. The threat comes not only from sudden eruptions, but also from toxic gases. The wind here can carry a thick, sulfurous fumes that engulf the entire village at any time, making breathing a real challenge. In addition, acids and sulfur in the air seep in, causing everything to rust and deteriorate much faster than normal. On one side is the harsh reality of the miners returning home after a day carrying dozens of pounds of sulfur on their shoulders. For them, A home is both their only shelter and a reminder of the fragility of their lives. Ganvi, Benin. This is a village built entirely on water. Often called the Venice of Africa, this community, home to over 20,000 people, sits atop wooden stilts above Lake No. 1. There are no roads or cars, only narrow boat lanes connecting houses, schools, and markets. The houses are built 1.8 to 3 meters above the water to avoid seasonal flooding. And daily life, including cooking, bathing and shopping, all takes place on boats. The village was founded over 300 years ago as a refuge from slave raiders who were forbidden to enter water by local beliefs. Al-Jazil, Yemen. It doesn't rest on the ground. It sits atop a massive 150-meter-high rock formation in the middle of the Wadi Dawan Valley. From a distance, the village resembles a forgotten rock crown in the desert, amidst the impossible places. The contrast between the sheer orange-yellow cliffs and the rustic mud brick houses creates a beauty that is both majestic and strangely fragile. Standing on the edge of these houses, you'll experience the true definition of precarious. There are no modern railings, only the mountain wind and the panoramic view of the deep valley below. Phuktal Monastery, India. This is the shared home of hundreds of monks, a giant beehive-like structure of mud and wood clinging to the Dragon's Mouth cave on a sheer limestone cliff. Just one misstep on the narrow stone steps, and you'll see the emerald green Zarap River swirling in the gorge right below you. This is one of the few monasteries in the world that can only be reached on foot. No paved roads and no vehicles. You must cross shaky suspension bridges and precarious trails clinging to the edge of the mountain. Seen from a distance, the stark white walls made of mud bricks and willow wood look fragile, yet they have stood there for over 800 years. Castellfollit de la Roca, Spain. If you thought living in a high-rise apartment building was scary enough, then take a look at this village in Catalonia, Spain. The houses here aren't just perched on the edge of a cliff. They seem to be part of the cliff itself. The village sits atop a narrow basalt rock formation, approximately 1 kilometer long and 50 meters high, in the middle of impossible places. This rock formation was created by the collision of two volcanic lava flows thousands of years ago. Old brick's quiet charm versus nature's raw menace. Standing between them, you feel small yet proud. Bajau Water Villages, Malaysia. It is home to people often referred to as sea nomads. The communities are built entirely on the seabed, on wooden stilts. Families live 3 to 9 meters above the water, their houses connected by narrow planks instead of roads. Many Bajau people spend 60 to 70% of their lives on or in the sea, and some can free dive deeper than 90 meters on a single breath, staying underwater 3 to 5 minutes without scuba gear. Some villages are born, live and die without ever owning land, relying almost 100% on fishing for survival. Iguros Floating Islands, Peru. You're standing on thousands of tightly woven layers of dry totora grass, hundreds of meters below in the depths of Lake Titicaca. Why is this called a dangerous location? Because your house isn't stationary. Without the anchors, a strong gust of wind could carry your entire bedroom across the Bolivian border in a single night. The lake water constantly erodes the grass beneath. To survive, the inhabitants must continuously add new layers of grass. It feels like you're racing against time to prevent the floor from turning into the lake. The entire house, the floor, the walls, was made of dried straw. Just a tiny ember could turn the whole island into a giant torch. Kororai Tribe Tree Houses, Indonesia. The Kororai tribe of Indonesia lives in one of the most extreme human environments on Earth, deep within the rainforests of Papua. Their homes are built 80 to 120 feet above the ground, perched in the treetops to avoid floods, insects, and rival clans. With no roads, no electricity, and no contact with modern cities until the 1970s, the Kororai survived entirely by hunting, sago gathering, and forest foraging. Families climb vertical tree trunks multiple times a day, using only notched footholds and vines. So, would you like to live in one of these houses? Let Haida Planet know in the comments below. La Rinconada, Peru. If you think a house is dangerous because it's on the edge of a cliff or in the eye of a hurricane, La Rinconada redefines that concept at a whole new level, precisely 5,100 meters above sea level. The first feeling you get when entering a house here isn't warmth, but suffocation. At this altitude, the oxygen level is only about 50% of that at sea level in impossible places. Every breath you take in the small, cold, tin-roofed room feels like you're breathing air through a tiny straw. You're not just living indoors, you're fighting to keep your lungs functioning. Meteora villages, Meteora. Looking up at this village from below, you'll see monasteries seemingly emerging from the rock. The first feeling upon climbing the narrow steps along the cliff face is one of awe mixed with a slight tremor. In the old days, to get here, people had to sit in a trawl net or climb a rope ladder, literally entrusting their lives to fate. Looking at the sturdy stone walls right on the edge of the cliff, I couldn't help but admire the medieval builders. They transported each stone and each bag of sand to the mountaintop by hand. It wasn't just architecture, it was the power of belief. Ushguli, Georgia. It is one of the highest continuously inhabited settlements in Europe, situated at an altitude of approximately 7,200 feet above sea level. This area is home to approximately 200 residents scattered across 4 small villages. These stone defensive towers are 70 to 80 feet tall. Many of them, built between the 9th and 12th centuries, still stand today. For up to 6 months each year, heavy snowfall can isolate us from the rest of the country, with temperatures dropping below -4 degrees Fahrenheit. The area lies at the foot of Mount Skara, Georgia's highest peak, at 17,059 feet. Kandavan, Iran. These are houses that the people here don't build on land. They live in rock formations created from volcanic ash and lava. With houses carved deep into the sheer cliff face, just one misstep outside the door, and you'll be standing on the edge of a small abyss. Looking at these jagged rocks that seem on the verge of collapsing, anyone would be concerned about their safety. However, not these stone villas have stood firm for over 700 years. They are a direct challenge to time and geology. This is not just a house, it's a symbol of humanity's taming of the harshness of nature. Living here requires a firm footing and a heart unafraid of heights. Taos Pueblo, USA. The danger here lies in the harsh challenges it has overcome over the past 1,000 years against the ravages of time and nature. Looking at Taos Pueblo, you'll see blocks of buildings stacked on top of each other like giant cardboard boxes. But don't let that rustic appearance fool you. This is the world's largest inhabited adobe structure in the midst of impossible places. Located at the foot of the Sangre de Cristo mountain range, this site was once a hotbed of conflict between tribes and colonizers. Now, the construction of high-rise buildings with no windows on the ground floor was an extremely clever military defense system.